So I'll make sure to promote that in our newsletter and on Facebook. All right, but I think we can get started. I'm Tina Saad. If you don't know who I am, I manage our DTE Alumni Network. It's been about almost 3 years or so since the network has been in existence. And so I'm very excited to have everyone here today. It's been a while since we've all gathered. We love to bring popular topics to you that are of interest, and I'm very excited because today we have Lynette Dowler with us, as well as our special guest, Joi Harris. She's the president and COO of DTE Gas. And what an accomplishment that is. We're so excited to have you today, Joi. And again, if I'm just going to remind you one more time, if you're just joining us, make sure to keep your microphone on mute. You're welcome to be on camera. We love to see your faces. And at the very end, we'll have a opportunity to ask any questions. So you're always free to do so in the chat. There's a little icon that looks like a little dialogue blurb that says chat on it. You can go ahead and type any questions in there. We'll be looking at that too. But we have a number of questions many of you have already asked, so hopefully we'll address it in our actual programming today. So I'm going to let Lynette take it away, and we're going to get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. And hello, alumni. Awesome to see you or see your names on the screen. Our town halls are always one of our favorite opportunities to connect with all of you. I saw Steve Karcher had his hand up. Steve, did you have a question before we get rolling? Okay. If you do, Steve, just in the chat or raise your hand when we get to Q&A, and we'll make sure we get you covered. So, as Tina said, we're pretty excited about today. We have a really special guest in having Joi Harris speak with us today. And if you know Joi or work with Joi, you love her. If you don't know Joi and haven't worked with her, I promise you, by the time we get through this hour, you're going to know her better and love her as well. We're really proud to have Joi as our president and COO of DTE Gas, and her leadership style really just speaks volumes regarding who we are as a company. And to have Joi in this space on one of our most significant business units just should give all of you alums some confidence in your stock if you own any DTE stock, because we've got an amazing champion at the helm with Joi. So Joi, thank you for being with us. Super great to have you with us today. So congratulations on your role, and I would love it if you could share with the alums how you're enjoying the role so far.
And thank you. And I am so thrilled to be with you all this morning. And thank you again for the kind words, Lynette, and always Tina. Good to see you. Glad you are helping usher this network along. It has been just a wonderful transition. I've spent the majority of my adult life working for our company, mostly in the gas business. I spent about 3 or 4 years in major enterprise projects, and I just returned from major enterprise projects before taking on this role. This has been a wonderful homecoming. And I see some familiar faces, some familiar names. Greetings to you all. This network is an important part of our DTE extended family. You all have contributed so much. I know many of you personally, so you've contributed so much to our company over your tenure. And the fact that you remain engaged and involved it just speaks volumes of your commitment to our company, but most importantly, your commitment to making sure that we deliver on our promise to our customers and to our communities. So thank you for that. But like I said, it has been a wild ride for the winter months, that's for sure. We did, in fact, have a winter. We haven't had winter in a few years. But I'm happy to say that overall things went really, really well. In fact, the majority of our assets performed as we would have hoped. Our system held up well. We certainly, and hopefully you all participate in the earnings calls, and you can hear this. firsthand. I think we'll show up really well in the first quarter. We'll have a strong first quarter financially, but certainly our folks just stepped up to the challenge, and it was a challenging winter. Let me just say that without any hesitation. It wasn't easy, but we worked really hard over the fall to prepare, and all of that preparation paid off. So no disruptions, no interruptions in service, and pretty much no major hiccups over the winter months. So all good news.
Awesome, Joi. Thanks for that. Can you share a little bit about really the future and the strategy of the DTE gas business?
I can. So one of the major things that we've been working on over the last several years is modernizing our infrastructure. Some of you may be familiar with our main renewal program that started several years ago. We are about 1,200 miles into that program. When we started, we had about 4,000 miles of main that had to be renewed. And over the next 10 years, actually 14 years, we hope to wrap that program up. But certainly that is a cornerstone of our effort here in and around our service territory. And the whole intent there is to address some of our I'll call it poorest performing main that had a number of leaks, or main that was just aged beyond what we believe to be prudent. And that main will be replaced with, I will say, more reliable materials that are more environmentally friendly, and certainly position us to incorporate new fuels, new sources of energy as the technology advances. And so we are working really, really hard to replace close to 200 miles of main every year. And we are also moving from the inside to the home to the outside, about 24 to 26,000 meters. So we still have a number of meters that are located inside of residences and businesses. And all of those meters simply need to come outside for a number of reasons, primarily safety, but certainly convenience in servicing those meters, and convenience to our customers, because every time we have to do maintenance on them, we have to coordinate to get inside that facility. So that will no longer be the case once we relocate much of that infrastructure to the outdoors. Other things that we're working on, we filed last year what we call our 10-year gas delivery plan, and it essentially details our overarching strategy for modernization of our infrastructure, both, as I mentioned before, the gas renewal program is laid out there, but there's also other areas of investment that we plan to make that address vulnerabilities in our system. We just are wrapping up the we wrapped up the second phase, and we're headed into the third phase of the Traverse City Reinforcement Project. And that project essentially ensures that we can continue to serve customers in the Traverse City area should there be some kind of failure on the existing pipeline. So what it was looping that pipeline, providing redundancy so that we're sure that we have continuing service to those customers in that area. And we've got a number of projects like that we included in the plan. We're looking at modernizing our compression fleet, but we're also focused very heavily on the environment, right? And reducing our carbon emissions. So we detail out some of the effort that's underway. Removing poor performing main that leaks is one way to reduce emissions, but there are others. Replacing rod packing on our compressors. We're also examining, how we source gas, and the basins that we use have varying methane content. And right now, we're sourcing a good portion of our gas from Appalachia basins, which essentially have one of the lowest methane contents in the country, really. And a lot of our gas comes from those regions. So the gas delivery plan is really showcasing to our regulator and anyone interested, really, where we intend to focus our efforts and what benefits our customers will realize as a result. So it's all in the interest of, keeping our rates affordable, keeping our system reliable, and certainly serving our customers in the way that they find valuable.
Super awesome. Any questions from the group before I keep rolling? Okay.
I see one person raise a hand.
Yep, Bernard.
Okay. Yeah, you hit on your gas supply. Now, when I was there, we focused mainly on Gulf Coast, Mid-Continent, and Canada, and we were just starting to reach into Utica Marcellus. What do we look like nowadays as compared to, let's say, 5 years ago?
Yeah, most of it is coming from the Appalachian Basin. I think it's pretty much, let me see, I want to say we've got about 30 or 40% that is coming out of that Appalachia Basin compared to where it was before. As you know, we weren't, those fields, those basins had not been well developed at that time. And due to a lot of the production increases and certainly a lot of the drilling that occurred, we found that those fields are, just prolific, and they've been delivering really great performance. And so 30% of that, 30% of our total supply is coming from that Appalachia region, which has, I think they're the methane emissions in Appalachia, I'm sorry, the methane content in Appalachia is the lowest of all basins. I think it's like less than 1 ton per, less than 1 ton of methane per billion cubic feet.
We always thought of it as BTU content, but and maybe the viewpoint has changed a little bit.
Yeah, we look at it in as a function of methane content. The BTU content is a byproduct, obviously, of that, but that's how we're examining those fields.
Yeah, we priced on BTU, so that's why we looked at it that way.
Yeah.
Are we decontracting off of other pipelines as a result? I assume we're bringing the gas in on Nexus, and we have A&R.
Yeah, and we bring a lot of gas in off of Nexus. We've got certainly contracts with, it changes, right? But we've got a lot of those contracts that used to be with A&R and certainly Panhandle. Some of that we've decontracted, and that goes to Nexus now.
Okay.
Awesome. Great questions, Bernard. Great questions, Bernard. Super. All right. Go ahead. Was there another question?
Yeah, real quick. In this, I'm an old coal man, not a gas man. But only one question. Real quick. Line 5. I know you said we've got most of our gas coming from down south, but do we have any gas coming through line 5? And if we do, will the shutdown cost us, raise our rates, whatever?
No, we do not. Line 5 is not a natural gas pipeline.
Okay. That's okay. Silly question.
Mm-hmm.
No, Steve, never.
No silly question. I think that's probably a top of mind for many folks. So we appreciate you asking it, and certainly offers an opportunity for us to clarify, just exactly where we source our gas from.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Hey, Joy, we've got a question in the chat. What % of sourcing comes from DTM?
What % of our gas source comes from DTM? From DTM does not have production. DTM is more of a pipeline company. And so I would say 0 comes from DTM in terms of supply. We use DTM, we use a Nexus, which DTM has interest in to transport gas. We do have, DTM has a storage contract. We have a storage contract with DTM at Washington 10, but it's relatively small. So the majority of our supply comes from other companies aside from DTM.
Awesome, Joi. And just for the whole of the crowd, can you remind everyone who DTM is?
Yeah, DTM is formerly, it used to be our pipeline business that was embedded in the gas organization. It is a non-regulated utility that we spun off last year. If you all were stockholders, you should have received that notification. And certainly DTM, if you look on the New York Stock Exchange, their ticker is DTM. And you can see how that stock is performing. But that is a separate and distinct company now. That was formerly a part of the gas business since its inception. And so far, they have been performing quite well. And we continue to encourage them to, just do awesome things. I know Dave Slater, who is the president and CEO of DTM personally. And they certainly are outperforming even what we had anticipated would be, their at least their stock price, and certainly they are bringing on new clients, new customers, and that's also bolstering their position in the market.
Awesome, thanks, Joi. I actually have my DTM check sitting on the counter right now. All right, so you guys have been really, really busy over the last several months. Can you tell us a little bit about how the company's performed?
Yeah, the company is performing pretty well. I mean, this first quarter, we had, like I said before, it was a pretty cold winter. In fact, January was the second coldest January we've experienced in over a decade. And that also brought about, I will say, higher bills for customers in and around our service territory, and it's largely driven by increased consumption. And so what we were doing and have been doing for many, many years is hedging our supply strategy, hedging our purchasings. And so what we did this past winter is make sure that our customers did not experience, pretty hefty bills due to just the increase in the commodity prices. So we hedge our purchases, and we purchase our gas well in advance of the winter. About 75% of it is purchased over a year in advance of the winter. And that paid dividends for our customers this past winter. I think our gas recovery factor, and that's simply the cost of the commodity, was about, on average, less than $3 per MMBTU, and many in our state were paying upwards of $4 and $5, and are continuing to see those hefty prices. And so we've been very, very much pleased with how this strategy has yielded savings for our customers this winter. The first quarter, we certainly moved a lot of gas. Our storage assets performed really, really well. But in order to address, what we saw was a really tough winter for our customers, we've been working hard with the federal government and certainly with the state to make sure that customers in need had access to funds to help them with their utility bills. So we had, and still have close to $160 million that we were trying to dispatch over this winter season to help folks that were struggling to pay their bills. Some of those folks certainly meet the federal poverty guidelines. Others were maybe experiencing difficulties for the first time, and certainly didn't know how to navigate systems in order to get some of that assistance. And so we've been pounding the pavement, sending the messages out to all the community leaders. Certainly Lynette and her team have been actively engaged in the faith-based community. And I've been all over the airways encouraging customers in need to contact us. And don't worry about, if this is your first time, we'll, help you through that process. If there is a need, and this is a way that you all can kind of help spread the word. If we run into customers that are struggling to pay their bills, they just need to contact us, and we will find the program that works best for them, given their situation, whether it is tapping into those federal resources, or it's, putting them on a payment plan that spreads out their bill over a series of months. Or there's also, just ways to address crises, one-time crises. We've got partnerships with agencies all over the state of Michigan that can help those customers just get through a tough time if it comes about unexpectedly. So those are just some of the things that we've been working on over the last, call it 3 or 4 months while the winter was raging on. Likewise, we have been engaging with our counterparts on the electric side and making sure that, we're prepared for this storm season as it approaches. So we go right from winter into storm. So the gas company and the electric company have been doubling down on, just bolstering our resources and our processes so that should a storm hit, we certainly are well prepared to respond and communicate. We're helping the electric side. We have a number of folks that are serving at downwire capacity. We also have ambassadors. I'm an ambassador to help communities that may be impacted by storms get information more timely and certainly address any major concerns they have in the moment. So a lot of work underway to, again, create a different experience for our customers, but also make sure that our system performs better during those inclement weather periods. You all probably heard last year, and I think maybe Trevor or someone else may have addressed, our tree trim surge. So the hope is that through all of this activity, and if any of you live in some of these communities, Oakland, Washtenaw, some of the other areas in and around the city of Detroit, you probably have seen a lot of tree trim activity, a lot of trucks rolling. We brought in crews from all over the country to address trees and to make sure that we're trimming at a pace that will produce better results during these extreme conditions that we're experiencing as of late. So just a lot of activity here to make sure that, again, that we're delivering on our promise to our customers, that our services will be reliable, they'll be affordable, and they'll always be there when they need them.
Thanks, Joi. Relative to the upcoming storms, I know many of you were on the last few town halls, and we've talked a lot about our process, our how many crews we're bringing in, the huge surge in tree trim, and the fervor that we have around getting our customers back as quickly as possible. Like, we have not taken a breath since we got through those 13 storms last year. We continue to meet 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with Trevor Lauer, Matt Paul, and the rest of the teams to make sure that we're staying on task to get our service to the customers enhanced. And it's not just the service, but it's also the communication to our customers. So, when Joi talks about the experience that our customers have when we do have an outage, it should be markedly better and different than what you experienced last year. And it's really been an all-court press to get that done. So we're probably going to touch on that every time we get together with you all to make sure that you've got the latest and greatest. So when you're talking to your neighbors, or Doreen, I know you happen to have a flooded basement. So once you recover from that, many people have experienced that over the last year. So you all, if you have questions around tree trim, reliability, outage, or if you interact with our outage center and you've got feedback for us, please make sure you give that to us. Tina is your point of contact for communication, and also we'll make sure that we keep you updated through the newsletter and through our town halls. We'll try to touch on that pretty regularly when we get together. So with that, let's transition to Q&A, and I'll invite you to raise your hands. I've got an important question from Bert that we're going to get to, Bert. But I see a hand up, and I want to get that hand first because it might be directly related to what Joi was just speaking with us about. So I can't tell who's got their hand up, but it's got an M in front of your guest name. So you've got the floor. And you'll have to unmute. You'll have to unmute to speak.
Okay, I forgot. Sorry.
That's okay.
Someone told me that they're changing some of the cables that we are using. Where we live, we have a problem with the squirrels. Probably 2 or 3 times a year, at least, minimum. The squirrels come, they go up on the transformer, they do their little thing, they die, and we lose power. And someone said that they were putting in different types of cables in those areas. So I don't know if that's just some kind of a story or what, but that's the question.
Yeah, Joi, I don't know if you have any cabling changes.
I know that they're changing, they're hardening the poles, they're certainly hardening the cross arms. I'm not sure about the cables that are being installed in some of the areas, in your area specifically, so I can't speak to that. But the whole notion of the improvements and hardening of the system is just for that purpose, right? To make sure that the poles, the cables, the cross arms are more reliable, particularly when we have high winds. There's, a lot of transformer upgrades that are underway. There are reroutes that are underway. There are a host of conversions. I know this from my prior role in MEP. Some of that work fell into my shop at the time to execute. And but rest assured, the intent behind the hardening is just that, so that we don't have outages when the conditions become severe, and our folks can certainly isolate segments of our system and do our restoration efforts much faster should an outage occur.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joi. And we'll also, Tina, can you take an action to follow up? And maybe let's put a little blurb in our alumni news around what is system hardening, so that the entirety of our alumni network kind of has that talking point, but specifically to the cabling. If you follow up on an answer and send that back out, that would be great.
I'll let you know too, Mickey.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tina. Bernard.
Yeah, Joi, you mentioned that we had a GCR factor in the $3 range this past winter. Do you have a feel for what choice customers were paying during that same period, knowing that they tend to be interruptible? I mean,
yeah, I do.
Interruptible gas and
yeah, choice. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, there are a segment of residents here in Michigan select different natural gas providers. We may deliver the product, but they are customers of an alternative supplier. And those suppliers, their GCR factors were in some cases $6, $7, $5. They were well above, sometimes 3 and 4 times higher than what we were charging our customers and what our customers were experiencing through our GCR.
That's the beauty of hedging and having firm supply.
That is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here about 100 miles from the Texas border, and I remember what happened just a year or so ago when they had their little catastrophe, and their system nearly collapsed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, because they kind of are on an island, right? Right,
and plus they don't have the same contracting practices we use.
No, they do not. Yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we reached out to those customers. In fact, Bernard, we sent communication to every one of the choice customers, just showing them the comparison, and pointing them to the NPSC's website so that they could do their own research and see the GCR rates across the state, including the one that they're paying right now. We did see some customers choose to come back to us as a result. And so that's the beauty of our hedging strategy. And as you said, our supply strategy of having firm supply, we insulate our customers from that volatility. And we did see natural gas prices increase over the last, call it 12 to 18 months. And that was largely due to just the increased demand in liquefied natural gas overseas. So we had more and more exports overseas. And then we had a really cold winter on top of that. So prices kind of spiked across all of the supply basins. And it's just supply and demand playing out. But fortunately, our customers did not experience that hike due to the strategy that we have in place.
Okay. Great.
Hey, Joi, is the war in Ukraine having any impact on availability or cost of natural gas for our customers?
Well, like I said before, we don't anticipate that there will be a huge increase over where it is today. We saw an initial surge, but prices appear to be fairly stable. In fact, the forward curve, if you look at it right now, it shows that, prices should come back down over the next, call it 24 months from where they are today. So we don't anticipate any issues with our supply here in the United States. Exports, LNG exports are in fact up. Largely due to the conflict, but they were steadily kind of increasing anyway, even before the conflict occurred. But all in all, no issues with supply for our customers. We don't anticipate issues with supply even in the United States at all.
Awesome, thanks, Joi. So let's get to Bert's question. Bert's question is regarding an article that was in the Sunday Free Press about affordable energy and DTE electricity shutoffs compared to other Michigan utilities. So, and Chris Lamphere, I see that you're on the line too, so you're welcome to shed additional light. But let me share with our alumni network kind of a high level around ProPublica, who created the article. ProPublica is it's a national media outlet. They're an independent outlet, and they typically go after topics or points of interest in a very prescribed way. And Outlier Media is a Detroit-based journalism firm that worked on this. And so basically the ProPublica article infers that if people read the article, it basically infers that we're high cost. We don't care for our vulnerable customers like they would like us to. We have extenuating amounts of shutoffs in our region, and it does not paint a very bright light on DTE as a company. And in that space, nor does it reflect the totality of the picture. And Paula Silver and her entire team has been working really diligently with many media outlets to assure that the whole of the story is shared, right? Like they always say, like a half truth's a whole lie. If you only give a portion of the story, you can't have context for the totality of the story. And in fact, I'm sure everyone on this call knows that we have significantly high poverty in our region, significantly high poverty. So when you think about the vulnerable customers, the amount of vulnerable customers that we have in our service territory are extensive. Joi spoke about the $163 million that we're getting to our most vulnerable customers in a really purposeful and aggressive way. I mean, we try countless ways to make sure that our vulnerable customers have access to the needs and support that they have beyond just payment plans, but other organizations that can help them with their utility bills. And but at times, a vulnerable customer either connected to our plans, doesn't get connected to the right communication, or just is overwhelmed by life and ultimately gets shut off. Like every avenue that we've attempted ultimately gets shut off. 85% of those customers are restored within 48 hours. The last thing we want to do is shut off a customer. And So Paula's team's working really purposefully to share the rest of the story relative to how we care for and serve our vulnerable customers. And Chris, I don't know, Chris or Joy, if there's anything additional that you would want to speak to relative to the ProPublica article?
I think you covered it well, Lynette. I think that, once we are given the opportunity to tell the balance story, I think folks will have an appreciation of just how hard we are working to make sure that our vulnerable customers get the support that they need through partnerships with nonprofits. I think if you go to the website today, there's at least 14 different nonprofits that we are linked up with that supply support to vulnerable customers in need. And we bend over backwards and will continue to work in partnership with faith-based community, with our regulators, with other stakeholders to make sure that we're bringing on additional programs that can help those customers. It's a difficult situation many find themselves in. And what we are coaching and communicating routinely is just contact us. And that's just the message. If they contact us, we will find a way to get them the support that they need. And in those rare instances when we can't, as Lynette indicated, typically within 48 hours, those customers are back on and have power and gas.
Yeah, this is Chris Lamphere. I'm in corporate communications. As Lynette mentioned, this is something that I worked very closely with this reporter who was working on this story for nearly 2 years. And as Lynette said, she was very interested in telling the shutoff story, not telling the assistance story. And one of the key points that I shared with her that I think is very good for all of you to know is that during the pandemic, as Joy and Lynette described, we worked very hard to get help to people. If you look at the amount of customer past due balances before the pandemic and today, it's about 30% lower. So because of all this work that we did throughout the pandemic leading to today, our customers are in a better place than they were before the pandemic. And that's something the reporter wasn't interested in sharing. It's something we're very much vocal about right now as we're trying to make sure our side of the story is being shared. And you mentioned that that this appeared in this past Sunday's Detroit Free Press. We contacted them and we're making sure they give us equal time. We will have our side in this coming Sunday's Detroit Free Press. So you'll see that point about the customer past due balances being in a better place and a number of other points this coming Sunday in the Free Press.
Sure. Hey, Bert.
Okay. Hi. Thanks everybody for that information. I was getting question. Of course, when you're a DT retiree, everybody comes to you to say, what's going on? Like there was that one customer that was referred to that had a $2,500 balance. And I know in the past, and I was never involved in billing and stuff, but it seemed like sometimes we would let these balances grow to the point where it was really challenging for customers. They would be reluctant to reach out to us, and maybe we weren't on top of it to address it early enough to make it easier for them. So, I'm glad to hear that things have improved, and what Chris was just saying about the past due balances are lower now than they were. And I do believe that a reporter with a focus is going to put forth that information rather than, the complete story. So, but it's good to hear from you guys what's going on. So, I'll look forward to next Sunday's article.
Yeah, Bert, I am so glad that you asked this question. This has been a very active process from Chris Lamphere and the comms team, because it could have saved a lot of angst if they had incorporated some other factoids from DTE, but that's okay. We are where we are, and I also say, things like this just continue to shine the light on how we need to be a caring company, right? I mean, every instance of someone who's shut off is an opportunity for us to say, how can we do even better? How can we do even better? So it's okay. It's certainly okay. Joy, we are up against time. We've got 2 minutes left. It's an amazing alumni group with us. Is there anything that that our alumni could do to help us be more successful as a company, or help their neighbors be more in tune with the work of DTE? Is there any ask that you might have of our alumni?
Yes, well, let me just say thank you all, one, for participating today and continuing to be great ambassadors. I know this alumni network is very much active in the community. When we have events, we also have alumni members that join us in volunteer events and other things that serve our community. So just thank you for that. I guess what you can do is keep doing that, keep showing up well and certainly participating in our volunteer efforts, but certainly communicate that we are, really focused on affordability. As we talked about, we're focused on serving our vulnerable customers, pointing folks to the resources that are available to them. There are a host of links that are on our website. You can also familiarize yourself with our Empowering DTE that really showcases all of the things that we're doing in a host of different pillars, whether it be our community outreach, how we're focused on the environment, and what we're doing to certainly assist those that are in need. For me, I guess a couple of things that I would ask. We have several, I will say, products, if you will, for customers that really are looking to reduce their carbon footprint and certainly want to be more engaged and involved in our renewable activities. So we've got the My Green Power program that really focuses on, just transforming the way we generate energy in this state. And customers can sign up for that program and be a part of it. And that will bring about more renewables to this service territory. And of course, help us in our efforts to reduce our emissions by 2050. And then also we have in the gas organization what we call the natural gas balance. And that program allows customers to reduce their carbon footprint. And so we do this by, onboarding more renewable natural gas. And in case you don't know what renewable natural gas is, it is gas that is generated by way of transforming emissions from landfills, from dairy farms, from wastewater treatment facilities into natural gas that can be inserted into our pipeline and distributed throughout our service territory. And so that program is available and can be accessed through our website. You can just sign up. It's really easy. I'm a customer. You can offset as much as 100% of your methane consumption by way of this program. And then we do also add to that program efforts to encourage reforestation. This program, the natural gas program, is also a partnership with the Nature Conservancy. And we are helping that Nature Conservancy plant more trees in northern Michigan. There are two specific regions in northern Michigan where we have established agreements with the Nature Conservancy to use the funds that we collect from the natural gas balance program to, again, plant trees. And that's a way to offset our carbon emissions. So I would just encourage you all to familiarize yourselves with some of these products. And if you run into folks who are really concerned about the environment and want to do their part, you can direct them to our website and they can do their own research, but certainly sign up and become a part of what we believe to be the solution future. Lastly, I'd say, if you run into issues where you have customers or friends or family that really are struggling, whether it be with outages or you yourself have feedback that you want to give us, just make sure you're reaching out. We're here. We're here to listen. We're here to certainly examine how we can get better in serving our community and delivering on our promise. And you all have a strong voice. You know the company, but certainly you have linkages into the community. So make sure that you are connecting back with us and letting us know how we're doing. And we certainly appreciate that feedback. We see it as a gift. So that's what I'd offer, Lynette, today. I just appreciate the opportunity to connect with this team. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's been a whirlwind of a transition, but I can tell you I'm having a blast and looking forward to leading this organization into the future.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks for that, Joi. Steve, we're going to close out with your question, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. So let's take your question, Steve.
Oh, my question's real quick. The DTE annual meeting, May 18th, at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. Did you want to mention that?
Yes, you beat me to it, Steve. Actually, I'm going to close out. I'm going to thank Joi really quick. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts and the future of the DTE gas business. And thank you, Lynette, as well. Like Steve just said, there is a DEER meeting on May 18th at 11 a.m. at the Ukrainian Culture Center. It's in Warren. It's on Ryan Road off of 696. They're meeting for, I think, the first time in 2 years, I believe. So it's really great. I also added our upcoming events for our alumni network in the chat. We actually have 2 free events that you can join us. One is actually next Friday in celebration of Arab American Heritage Month. We're visiting the Arab American National Museum for a tour and a free lunch. So I hope you can join us for that. And this is a preview to you all. This is actually not available yet. It'll be in the newsletter tomorrow, but we the month of May is Jewish Heritage Month, so we will be visiting the Zeckelman Holocaust Center in West Bloomfield, the Holocaust Memorial Museum. That will be a wonderful tour, and we're going to end it with a survivor story. They actually have survivors who come and tell their story and their experience in the Holocaust. So if you could please join us for that. We have the space is limited. We have a few tickets left for the Arab American Museum, and the Zeckelman Holocaust Center is not yet open, so you have a preview to it. And as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we have a Tigers game, June 15th. So please join us, bring your friends, family, grandkids, neighbors, whoever it is that you want, but we hope to see you there. And as always, we'll keep you informed on Facebook and in our weekly newsletter. But thank you. And I know, Betty, your hand's up. There's also, if you want to promote your upcoming.
Hey, Betty.
Hi, Joi. So nice to see you. I'm so happy for you. I've always admired you so much. So happy. Yes, I just wanted to put a plug in for the Northern Flames meeting, just in case anyone wants to go up north. It is May 13th at Fred's of Roscommon Restaurant. And it begins at 11 with coffee, and then we have lunch at noon and have our meeting. And I know I'm pulling on Tina's arm to get her there, and anyone else who would like to attend, we'd love to have you.
Yes. And I also would like to promote the Blue Flames. They meet every second Tuesday of the month. So there's also something on May 10th. They actually have someone from the Attorney General's office coming to talk about scam awareness. And we have someone from DTE that's coming to talk about what we're doing and being proactive with scams. So I'm very much looking forward to all these upcoming events and to see all your faces live and in person. So I hope to see you. Joi, you're welcome to come to any of those as well if you have the time to.
I imagine so, yeah, for sure. I see Beth too. I thought I saw Beth's face for a hot minute. So good to see some familiar faces.
So good to see everyone. Well,
hey, Tina, before you close, I just have last thing. I don't know if our alumni network knows this, but Tracy Thomas, who led our alumni network for many years and actually built our alumni network from the ground up. Tracy has a beautiful job opportunity outside of DTE. So her last day with DTE, I believe, is Friday. So if any of you want to send her some love, I'm sure she'd love to hear from all of you. She's doing amazing, and she's taking on a new job in a new company. So we wish her all the best as well.
Thank you, Lynette. As always, if you have any thoughts, questions, anything, my email's in the chat. You can always reply to our weekly newsletter, and we'd love to hear from you. Don't be strangers to us. We love seeing you and hearing from you. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful week.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Joi, again.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes if there are others that are still on that have questions.
Yeah, I'll be
Happy to
staying
stay
on as
in.
well. Yeah, that would be great.
Great meeting.
Thanks, Tamara.
See some lots of familiar faces.
Good job, Tina.
Oh, thank you.
I think I saw Dan. Let's see. I saw
Yep.
Dan.
Yeah.
Hello, I
Hi,
got a
Dan.
question.
Sure.
You guys, you mentioned the low methane gas.
Mhm.
That sounds like a bad thing. I was an electric person, not a gas. So you made it sound, Joy, like low methane was good. To me, it sounds the opposite. Can you explain?
No, it's this lower methane content just leads to lower emissions. The natural gas itself is still has a great BTU content based on the other elements that are present. So it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's better for the environment if we source it from some of the basins that have lower methane content per billion cubic feet. And let me just say that, many of the basins that they're working on the processing to improve the methane content as it is entering the pipeline. So it's not a bad thing at all, in fact.
One quick question here. I've heard some talk of hydrogen being transported through pipelines. I don't know a whole lot about that. Is there any,
Yeah.
you have any thoughts about that at all?
Yeah, hydrogen blending is something that we're beginning to experiment with. We filed in the latest electric rate case, we filed to install a electrolyzer and essentially electrolyze and put it on in front of the Blue Water Energy Center. So the Blue Water Energy Center, of course, it's a power plant that runs off of natural gas. And so the electrolyzer will be installed upstream of it. And what it'll do is essentially generate hydrogen. And then that hydrogen will be blended with the natural gas. And again, it's all in an effort to reduce emissions, right? And so that project was included in our last rate filing. And then there are others that are experimenting with hydrogen and blending technologies across the country. GTI is doing some work there. The technology is still maturing. I don't think it's at scale just yet, but there's certainly research underway.
Yeah, I pick up bits and pieces, but not enough to really understand what they're up to.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Betty, you had a question?
No, I already had my my plug for the meeting.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think it's Dan.
Yep.
Oh,
Daniel.
already asked my question.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're good.
Right.
Yeah, I can lower them. Yeah,
Can't see
if there's any last questions from anyone else?
I had my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just want to say, for anybody who's never worked with customers hands-on, to see all the things that we do for our customers, it's really sad that article was in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I worked in customer service, I worked in the business offices, I worked in collections. I mean, we go through so many hoops to keep our customers. We don't make any money when we don't have gas flowing or electricity, I mean, people don't get that. And we do so much for our customers. And I mean, I used to pay one of my customers' bills. He would come in the business office and I did his bills for him every month. We do so many things to our customers to help them. It's sad that they put articles like that in the paper about us.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sharing that story here. And certainly as an ambassador, we ask you to share that story with others. Just share your experience with others who may have questions about that article. You can say firsthand through your experience, we are committed to doing to help our customers, and just how far we go to make sure that, they have the energy service that they need. And we can't help them all, but we are committed to figuring out, different solutions. And that's a continuing effort that we are embarking on, whether it be in Lansing. We advocate for our customers in Lansing at the federal level, just to make sure that folks are getting the support that they need when they need it.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else?
Nothing else. This has been awesome. It's been a highlight of my day thus far. So thank you all for participating, and looking forward to engaging with you all and seeing you all in 3D.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
I know, I'm excited. I am definitely. But thank you so much again, Joy,
Thank
and
you.
also for staying on longer than
that's
expected
good.
too. So yes,
Yeah.
thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Take care, everyone. Be
Take
safe.
care.
Have a good
care,
week.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Been a phenomenal turnout.